My name is Sheila Carena. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila and New Light Streaming Love, as this will be seen on both channels. This is I Am an Alien by Jason Gray, written June 21st, 2026. I have finally reached a conclusion. I am an alien. You do not have to believe me. In fact, I would be suspicious if you did. I am not asking for your agreement. I'm not asking for validation. I'm not asking for government hearings. I am not asking for scientific review. I am simply informing you of a fact that has become increasingly obvious to me over the course of the last 51 years. I am not from here. No, Jason. A lot of us feel that way, honey, just so we're clear about that. Now, before anyone starts typing angry comments, let me clarify. I am fully aware that I was allegedly born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I have seen the birth certificate. I have seen the photographs. I have met witnesses. I understand the official story. But if there is one thing I have learned about Earth, it is that paperwork proves absolutely nothing. Entire governments lose paperwork. Well, he's not wrong. Banks lose paperwork, hospitals lose paperwork, airlines lose luggage. The possibility that an interstellar civilization misplaced one extraterrestrial child somewhere in central Canada seems completely reasonable by comparison. Again, he's not wrong. Frankly, it would explain a lot because I have never felt entirely human. I've spent my entire life studying your species, and the more I study it, the less I understand it. For example, humans spend their childhood wanting to be adults. Well, that's because we think they look like they're having such a great time, in my opinion. We don't realize that they're not having such a great time. At least that's what I've come to feel. Then they spend their adulthood wishing they were children. Humans spend years trying to get somewhere, then arrive and realize they were happier before they got there. That's very true. Humans work themselves into exhaustion so they can one day relax. Then they become uncomfortable when they finally have time to relax. Humans say they want honesty. Then they become furious when someone gives it to them. I know that feeling quite well myself. Humans say they value individuality. Then they spend enormous amounts of energy making sure everyone behaves exactly the same. I've always never understood that myself, dear. How am I supposed to make sense of this? I cannot, because I am clearly not from the same operating system. The evidence only becomes more compelling from there. Normal people can discuss lawn care for 45 minutes. I cannot. I once tried. I feel you. You are not the only one. Let me just be really clear about that, Jason. The conversation somehow became about mortality. I do not know how it happened. One minute we were discussing grass. The next minute I was explaining how every living thing on earth is temporary and therefore beautiful. This apparently ruined the barbecue. I apologize to nobody. Then there is my relationship with rocks. Let's address the rocks because eventually someone was going to bring up the rocks. A normal human being sees a billion-year-old piece of Canadian shield and thinks, rock. I stand there staring at it for half an hour. I photograph it. I think about it. I contemplate what it has witnessed. I wonder how many civilizations have come and gone while it remained exactly where it is. I become emotional. The rock does nothing. The rock says nothing. Yet somehow I leave feeling like I attended a meeting. This is not normal behavior. Neither is driving hundreds of kilometers into remote wilderness just to sit quietly beside ancient stone and feel grateful to be alive. I have done this repeatedly, which brings me to another piece of evidence. I cannot stop looking up. I've tried. The species appears to have collectively agreed that staring at phones is now more important than staring at the universe. I respectfully decline participation. I continue looking upward. Clouds, stars, sunsets, the moon, meteor showers, thunderstorms, northern lights, birds, anything above eye level. Some part of me remains convinced that something important is happening overhead. Maybe it is home. Maybe it is memory. Maybe it is just curiosity. Either way, the behavior persists. Then there is the writing. Thousands upon thousands of pages. Thousands. Who writes this much? Every day I wake up and feel compelled to document observations, the sky, people, recovery, nature, love, loss, beauty, consciousness, existence, codes. At some point, I was forced to ask myself a different question. Am I a writer or am I filing reports? Somewhere in a distant galaxy, there is probably an exhausted supervisor reviewing my transmissions. Field Agent Gray, still reporting, still observing, still asking questions, still refusing to stop writing, still fascinated by rocks, no progress on retrieval. The situation appears permanent. Then there is the most convincing evidence of all. I genuinely like humans. This surprised me because, from a purely observational standpoint, you are absolutely ridiculous. You create stress about things that do not matter. You worry about problems that never happen. You spend years arguing with strangers on the internet. You invent meetings. You create paperwork. You create paperwork to organize other paperwork. Oh my God, that sounds like us. I used to work at this job where we would laugh about, yeah, we're going to have a meeting to decide when the next meeting is. You have somehow managed to turn existence itself into an administrative process. And yet, you also create music. You create art. You write letters. You raise children. You care for the sick. You help strangers. You sit beside hospital beds. You comfort grieving people. You keep going when every reason says you should quit. I have seen human beings endure things that should have broken them, and somehow they continue. I have watched people crawl out of darkness. I have watched people survive loss. I have watched people choose kindness when cruelty would have been easier. No advanced civilization could improve upon that, which presents an unexpected complication because somewhere along the way, I became attached to the species. I became attached to the forests, the lakes, the skies, the old highways, the northern rocks, the letters, the conversations, the laughter, the heartbreak, the whole strange experience. If I am an alien, and I am completely convinced that I am, then I have become a very compromised alien because after 51 years on this planet, I have developed affection for the assignment. I no longer wish to leave. Well, mostly. I would still like to know where I came from. I would still appreciate some answers, and if a spacecraft ever lands in my front yard, I reserve the right to become the most annoying person in human history. I will spend the rest of my life saying, I told you so. Not because I need validation, but because after 51 years of being called strange, weird, different, eccentric, intense, overly curious, overly thoughtful, overly observant, and occasionally completely insane, it would be nice to win one. Until then, believe whatever you wish. Call me crazy, call me mistaken, call me delusional, call me human. I remain unconvinced. The evidence has been reviewed. The file has been closed. The verdict is final. I am an alien. And honestly, Earth has actually turned out far better than I expected. End transmission. Field agent Jason Gray. Status stranded on Earth. Content still looking up. Jason Gray. Well, this was a cute one, Jason, I have to admit. Mostly because, well, there's a lot of us that have felt like that. And I say us, meaning once upon a time, um, I've known others who have said that they feel like they must not be from here. My housemate, Lisa Rush, says the same thing. And I wonder how many of um, the returned actually feel the exact same way. So I'd love to know, do you feel this way? Let me hear from you in the comments. And if you don't wish to do it in the comments, send me an email, consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. And you can find a link in every one of these videos where you can A, support this channel should you choose, and B, where you can go and find Jason's work on the Facebook, because except for when I'm asked to record specific ones, I record what I feel nudged to record in the moments I am nudged to do so. So, and if you feel if you're just finding this and you would like to read more of Jason's work, you can do so at the link. And I'm hoping to have another conversation with Jason very soon. So until we meet again, my friends, be well. Mwah.